Alright, so in this section we're going to wrap everything up. We're going to take what we've learned. We're actually going to take the Yi application that we've been building and turn it into a company website. And what we're going to do is we're going to change some of the content. We're going to actually create a template, a new template for our application. We will also be adding a staff link to the menu, and we'll actually be deleting the functionality of showing the staff index page from what the GUI generator created for us, and we'll just do it manually because all we want is a list of staff members. We don't want the create button and all that stuff on the page. So let's just get right into it. I have our application open in Chrome, and I have NetBeans, and we have our Yi project. Now the first thing that I want to do is I want to change the name, the application name, which by default is my web application. You can see it here, here, and here. And you can control that from within the protected directory, in the config directory, in the main.php file. And right here at the top you can see we have this array and this name key, and then we have the value, which we're going to change. And we're going to change this to just YiTech. Okay, so we're just going to be a developer, web development company that specializes in the Yi framework. Alright, so you can see that that's changed our page titles and this heading here as well. So the next thing I want to do is create a template. They're actually called themes when dealing with Yi. And we can see in our structure we have this themes folder, and inside that, actually this theme 1 shouldn't be here. I put that there. A default installation only has this classic folder, and inside we have a views folder, and we have a couple different things. We have a layouts folder, site, and system, and these are all blank by default. So there's not really too much I can teach you through with this. So we're going to create our own theme and see what it entails. So I'm going to go to htdocs in my Yi folder, themes, and I'm going to call this theme red dark because it's going to be a black and red theme. So red dark. Now if you go to the root of the Yi application, you can see we have a CSS folder, and in that we have a few CSS files. We have the main CSS, and we also have a form.css and a few others. So if I open up that main CSS file, and let's go to our application, and let's look at the body here, the body tag, and it seems to be a light gray. Let's see what happens if I change that to a black. You can see that actually changes the background. Now this is a core CSS file, and it's not good practice to change this around. And the best thing we can do is what we are doing, and that's creating a theme. And we'll copy all the core styles that comes with the Yi core, and we'll just add upon that. So we'll customize that in the themes folder, not in this file. So I'm going to put that back how it was, save it, close it. Alright, so let's go back to our folder. We want our themes and red dark. So a few things we got to create. One is a CSS folder. Alright, now we also want an images folder, which if you don't have any images in your theme you don't need, but we're actually going to use an image for the header. And we also need a views folder. Okay. So in this views folder I'm going to create a couple more. I'm going to create a layout folder, which will basically be our main HTML. and we can add existing pages into this folder, so we can only edit our theme file instead of the core system. We don't want to hack it or anything like that. And we'll create a site folder and a system folder, but we won't really be looking into these in this series. But we will need a layouts file, and the layout is going to be a document called main.php, and this is going to control all the HTML. We're actually just going to copy it from another file. Alright, so if we go to the core here, if we go in the CSS folder, there's nothing there. What I actually want to do is copy all the CSS from the main from here. So I'm going to copy all of these. Alright. Now, I guess the next thing we should do is populate the main.php file. And I should be doing this in NetBeans, not Notebook++. Alright, so we see our red dark theme. And what we want to put in here, we can grab from protected. In the views, you see a layouts folder, and we want to grab the main PHP. So let's open that up, and let's just copy all of this and place it in here. So now our theme is ready to use. We're still going to add some CSS and stuff like that, but we need to assign it, and we can do that in the config folder and in the main.php file. Right under this key in this array, this name, which is just a website name, we want to put theme, and that is going to be red dark, and it knows where to look, so we don't need to include any folders or anything like that. And that needs a comma after it. Alright, so let's save that. Let's go back and reload our page. Now nothing's changed, but our theme file is using the core main.php as well as the core CSS. So let's just make sure that it's actually using our theme by going to our theme folder, and we'll go into main.php in our theme folder, and let's just say this is our theme. So this will show up on the screen if we are in fact using it, and you can see it showed up right here. Alright, so we have our custom theme. Now we just need to so we can style it. So let's go to the CSS folder, which is in the red dark folder, and open up main.css. And let's look at our page, and let's see what we want to change. The first thing I want to do is this menu. I don't want this blue gradient image. I actually just want to use a solid dark color. So let's go to our CSS, and if we go to main menu, you can see we have a background that's white, and it's using this blue image and repeating it. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to get rid of that. And for the background, it's just going to be a dark gray, which is almost black. Okay, so that's the hex value for that. I also want to make it a little bigger, a little thicker. So I'm going to change the height to 35 pixels. And I'm going to put a padding on the top of 5 pixels. And we're going to make the color of the text white because the background is going to be dark. So let's save that and make sure that this is working, which it is not. So we have to go back. Let's see, red dark, main CSS. Let's see. And I see one issue right off the bat, and that is it's loading in our style sheets, but it's coming from the base URL. Alright, so it's looking in the actual core CSS folder as opposed to our theme folder. So we just need to change that, and we can do that pretty easily. We just want to change this request to theme, and that'll point it to the theme base URL as opposed to just the regular site URL. Okay, we want to do that here. Okay. Alright, so let's save that and go back. And now our menu has changed. We have this black menu, it's wider. So let's continue to style this. I do want to change the background of the entire site, which is a light gray, almost white, and I'm going to use the same dark gray. So if we save that, take a look, now we have a black background, or a dark gray. You can see we have a border here. This is a light blue or a bluish gray border around the header, so I want to change that, and that's right here. I'm going to change that to just a black. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is work on the header, and this is actually in the CSS, it's the logo. The logo points to this entire area here. So we want to go to logo, it's right here, and I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to add a height of 100 pixels. Okay, and we'll keep the padding, we'll keep the font size. Now I want to use an image, a background image for this, so we got to go ahead and grab that. So in our red dark folder, in the images folder, let me just grab this image from my physical machine into this virtual machine. Just give me 1 second. And this will be in your files as well. Alright, so if we preview this, it's just a nice red and black abstract 3D background. So we're going to use that as a header. So we can see that it's named head_bg.jpg. So we're going to say background URL, and this is going to be in the images folder in our theme. So if we go ahead and look at where the CSS file is in CSS. So we want to go out and then into the images folder, and we can do that with 2 dots and then a / images head_bg.jpg, and we want to put no repeat. Alright, so let me see, the last thing I want to do here is just make sure all the text is white. So let's move up here. Color is going to be white. Alright, so let's take a look at our header. Alright, that looks really good. I do want to change our links. You can see this, the active link here is blue. I want to change that to red. I also want to change these other links to red. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to add under the body, I'm just going to, for all my links on this site, we're just going to give a color of red. We'll just say red. Alright, and then we want to go to the main menu link here and change, let me see, We want the regular color to be white. We want the active and the hover color to be red. Alright, so this should work. Let's reload, and now this is red as well as the hover state. You can see our footer is also have red links too. So the footer, I guess, we'll do next. I want the footer to have a dark background. So if we go down right here, footer. Let's see, we're going to change this border top to black. And let's give it a background of the dark gray. And let's also make the text white. Okay, so let's reload that. Now I have a nice dark footer. So you can see the site is really changing. The template or theme, whatever you want to call it, is changing quite a bit. So what I want to do now is change some of the content. And I want to change this home page content. And we do that in the view files. If we go to protected, views, and our site controller is taking care of the pages, and we can actually edit our pages from in the views site folder. The home page is the index page, so let's open that up and let's change some of this stuff. I'm going to actually grab my snippets. We'll grab this here. Let's throw that in. We want to get rid of from here down. And I'm going to paste in some code or content. So what we have here is a paragraph that's just saying we are PHP developers that specialize in the Yi framework. And down here we have just a bunch of gibberish, just a bunch of sample content. And I have an image too that I want floated to the right. That image will be in your program files. So I'm going to save that. And let's just look at it without the image first. So we can see it's starting to look a little more like a real website. And the image is not there, so we have to get that. I am going to, and that's going to go in, that's going to go right in our core images folder. So let me grab that. Okay, and if we want to preview this, it's just a little graphic that says website, so it matches the site pretty well. So let's see what that looks like. Alright, so that's our home page. It looks a little better than it did. So let's add some content to the About page. And I have that in my snippets. And this is just going to be just some paragraphs. And that will go into the pages folder in the About file. Alright, so that looks a little better. We have our breadcrumbs up here. Contact form will stay the same. Looks pretty good, pretty clean. Login form the same. What I want to do now is create a staff page. I want the staff index page to show up in this menu. So we could add it in the core layout file if we wanted to, but I want to use our theme. So if we go, let's just close up this protected folder, open the themes and the red dark views layouts main. So this is the main wrapper or document. So if we scroll down, we can see that in this case we're using a widget for this menu, and the menu links and text are all in this array. So we need to add in an array value. So I'm actually going to copy the home one and put that right after About. And we want to change home to staff. Okay, so this is just the text that will show for the menu item, and then we want the link. and that's going to go to our staff controller, and it's going to go to our index function or model. So let's save that, reload. Now we have a staff link. If we click on that, we get the screen that you saw in the last section when we created the model. But this isn't what I want. I don't want a create staff or manage staff link. And I also want a different layout than this. I want to use a table, much like we did in earlier chapters, just a table of users. So let's do that. Now if we go to our protected folder and we go to our controller, we go to our staff controller, this was all generated for us when we used the GUI tool. Alright, so there are restrictions on the way that it created this file. Now this is used to create a staff from the front end. We have update, delete, and the index is what we want. Okay, so it's using this C active data provider, and then it's passing that into the render method, which just points to the view. So I'm going to open up the view as well. If we go to views, not layouts, staff, index, and how it's outputting the staff info on the screen is through a widget, and that's just what happens when you automatically generate a model, or a view or a controller. It just generates content in this way, and I don't want this. I want to manually grab the staff information from the database and then just display it in the table in the view. So I'm going to get rid of this widget gunk, and this menu array pertains to that menu on the right. I don't want that. So I'm going to save this. Actually, we need to close this PHP and save that and go back and reload, and now we have a clean staff page with nothing on it. So what I want to do is go to the staff controller and get rid of this line, and get rid of this. We're going to pass data into the view, but not this. So let's just let's actually close that for now. So what I want to do is I want to grab, first of all, I'll show you how to grab one item, one staff member. So let's create a variable called staff member. Okay, and staff member, we're going to say equals the staff controller, or just the staff area, I guess, and then model. Remember, the model is what will get the database fields for us, and we want to use the find action, and inside the find we want to add, let's see, do a little query here. Well, ID equals ID. So this is kind of like a prepared statement. You can see we have the colon in front of that, and then we're going to do a comma and array, and now we want to say ID. Well, actually we need single quotes here. ID is going to be 1. So what this line is saying is that we want to grab the staff member with the ID of 1. Alright, and then we're going to pass that into the view just like this, and we'll say staff member, and we did this in an earlier, I think it was the controllers and views section. So staff member. Alright, so not too difficult. We're grabbing a staff member from the model with the ID of 1, and then we're rendering the view, but we're passing in this staff member variable. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and nothing's going to happen yet because we haven't touched the view. So if we go to the view file, we can then PHP echo staff member. Now remember, we passed this variable in from the controller, but if we just do this and we reload, it's going to tell us that the object couldn't be converted to a string. Now, the object is holding all of the fields for the member, so we want to output which field we want. So let's say ID. Now remember, we asked for the member with the ID of 1, so that's what's showing up. We could also print out the first name, because that's in the staff table as well. And the first name is Julie. So you can see where I'm getting at. Now this is a single record. We want to show all of the staff members. So we need to use a different approach. So I'm going to comment that line out where we got the single record, and I'm going to create a variable called staff members with an S, and we're going to say staff and this is actually easier. This is going to be just model, and we're going to use the find all method. So that's just finding all the staff members. We could put parameters in here. Say we wanted all the staff members with the, I don't know, first name of Mike or something like that. We could do that. And now all we have to do here is change this. We're passing in the staff members variable, and then we can deal with that inside of the view. Alright, so we don't want to just echo it out. We need to we need a loop to go through each member and output it on the screen. So we're going to do that with a for each loop. Okay, so we're going to say for each staff members as staff. We could put anything, but I'm just going to use staff. Okay, so for each staff member as staff. So that's an end for each. NetBeans is nice, it just adds that automatically. So what we want to do in here is add a table. And we are running out of time here, so I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to grab it from my snippets. And we're just going to paste over this because this includes the for each loop. So easy, what we're doing is we create a table. We have table headings of ID, first, last name, email, and then we're creating a loop, and in that loop we want to output a table row. Each time it iterates will be another table row with the user's information. So we'll go echo the staff ID, staff first name, last name, and email, and then we'll end the loop. So if we save that and we reload, we get this nice table of our staff members. Now we don't have that create member or any of that stuff over here. We don't want that. Let me just add a little style to the heading here. We can do that easily in the main CSS file. We'll just put in table th, which is table heading, and we'll give it a padding 5 pixels, background dark gray, and color white. Alright, save that. If we go back, now the heading has this dark background. So we basically have a complete site here now for Yi Tech. So you can see how easy it is to use a framework. It can do all those dynamic functions for you, and you could even use it as just a small site like this with just static pages. What we're doing is adding the content right in the view files, but if you want to get more technical, you could actually create a CMS type of site where you could log in and create pages from there. But that takes a lot more work, and that's beyond the scope of this tutorial. I basically just wanted to show you how you can get a Yi site up and running. So that's it. That's pretty much it for this series. I'll create a goodbye video, I guess, wrapping up what we've learned. I hope you've learned a lot. I've enjoyed this, and I hope you have too. Thanks.